Alright guys, so I wanted to walk you through just kind of how I use the Keto-Mojo. Awesome device. You get one probably on Amazon for like 50 bucks, and then I think you can buy like a starter kit. Our recommendation is obviously if you're going to go full on keto, it's probably doing the starter kit with probably 50 ketone strips, and then if you're really concerned about checking insulin levels, also getting the glucose strips. But what I typically do is kind of pull out meter. You've got the pen and basically kind of finding the preset as far as once you kind of prick your finger so that it's basically dialed up or down depending on how sensitive you are, making sure you can get like a pin drop worth of blood when you come out. And then what I like to do is kind of pull out my insulin and keto strips, so I'll grab one of each. One of the most important things for you guys with your keto strips is like each package comes with like basically a reader that you have to insert to make sure that it's kind of registered, and that way all the strips from that package kind of are measured. So you guys can see on here, you basically have the blue strips, which are the keto strips, and then you've got the insulin, which is the glucose levels. So that's the darker strip. So what I typically do is, since I'm a righty, kind of one of those things where I'll probably start with like my middle finger or my second finger over, and I'll kind of hold my finger down for probably about 10-15 seconds, just getting a ton of blood in there. And then what I'll do is kind of right after I release, I'll pop myself and kind of make sure that I got a nice like pen drop worth of blood on there. Then what I do next is I'll throw in the keto strip. So what's really important on here is you got to make sure that you get the CH reading and you see the little dot blinking at the top, basically saying that it's good to read. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of throw that in there. So it usually takes about 10 seconds to kind of read it. So there's me at 2.5 for today. I was at 3.1 this morning when I woke up, but had some carbohydrates, a little bit more than I normally have, just to kind of play around with my levels today, just still learning about this. And then what I'll do is, once the kind of screen turns off and clears, I'll put in the glucose strip. And then what I'll do, same thing, so it should say checking. Then you want to wait till you see the little blinking dot, and then once I see that, same thing. Usually it takes about 5 seconds for that. So I'm at 103. So just to give perspective, I was at 89 this morning and 3.1 as far as my keto reading, and just kind of wanted to play around. I just threw a little bit of ketchup on my ground beef today, just to kind of see what effect that would have on me today. So obviously my glucose levels are up a little bit, but you know, from there, basically I'll just shut off the machine, kind of put it in the case, and then I've got an Excel spreadsheet where most of the time I'll do it first thing in the morning. So I'll check my ketosis levels, I'll check my glucose levels at like 6 or 5 when I get up in the morning, and then I'll kind of log that in, and that way I can start to pay attention. And then if I'm playing around with new foods like I was today, just wanted to kind of see relative to, you know, what a small amount of ketchup on probably like 5 ounces of grass-fed ground beef would do. You know, obviously I can see that affects my ketone levels a little bit as well as my glucose. But a lot of times what I'll do too, if I want to check a food, is maybe see where my levels are prior to eating that food, and then I'll wait like 60 or 90 minutes and check again. But what you can start to see is the effects that carbohydrates have as far as affecting your ketosis and your glucose levels. So I feel like kind of once I got a hang of this after a few weeks of doing it, it's kind of really starting to fine tune different things and test foods to see how they work for you. But it's been really good as far as kind of logging it and then having an understanding as far as what foods are going to affect me, and then knowing obviously how to plan accordingly. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, make make sure to reach out. Appreciate it. Thanks.